Hey guys, it's Nate with Sauce Ain't the Boss here again, and today is day number 107 of quitting drinking alcohol. Today I wanted to talk about learning to go with the flow, learning to accept change, learning to adapt, learning to not be so set in your ways when you quit drinking alcohol. Now, as a drinker, I was pretty set in my ways with what I did every single day. It was like a vicious cycle, a broken record of the same loop over and over again. I would go to work, I would get off work at 4, I would start drinking, I would drink till midnight, I would go to bed, get up, and do the whole thing over again. Over and over again. And I kept it that way. I wanted it that way. I didn't want anything to interfere with my loop, with my drinking time. I carved out this, niche for my drinking time at 4 o'clock till midnight. And if anything interfered with it, that wasn't okay, And so as soon as I quit drinking, I realized quickly that I was going to have to replace that drinking time with something else. I had to learn to adapt and change my lifestyle, my routine, those types of things. And so when you quit drinking alcohol, there is a little bit of change, adaptation, and learning to go with the flow that you're going to have to do in this process. And I think that's good. I think you need to change things up. I don't think it's healthy to just stop drinking and keep everything else in your life the same, because now all you have is the same old life without alcohol in it, and nothing's different, and that's going to make you want to go back to drinking. So pull the alcohol out and then start making some changes. Start small and or start big. You can go either way, but just as this has evolved with me, things have changed more and more in my life. I'm so much more eager now to take on tasks, even tasks that I think otherwise would have been extremely hard or difficult, projects, stuff like that. An example today is, I went down to that rental that I told you I've been working on that I had to evict my tenant on. And anyway, the flooring guys got done doing the flooring, and I had pulled all the old flooring out and got the floors ready for them to install. I just didn't want to do that part myself. I was too busy. But they wanted to do the baseboards, and I could save money doing them myself. So I decided to lay all the baseboards today in there, new baseboards. And then every single door in that place had either been like elbowed in or kicked in, or it seemed like the doors were all out of whack, off the hinges, broken, doorknobs messed up, screws missing from the hinges. It was just every single door seemed like it had issues. And so that after I got done with the baseboard, I was working on those and getting them all to shut nicely and stuff. And there was this one door that led to the laundry room that should have took 25 minutes. But what I think ended up happening is the tenant broke that door and then replaced it with a door that he found somewhere, or something that wasn't the right door for that door jamb. And so, long story short, I ended up making the door work, but I had to chisel the door jamb. I had to, all the screw holes were stripped out. I had to fix all that. Anyway, what should have took 25 minutes took like an hour and a half for this one door. And, I didn't get upset, though. I just went with the flow. And, my buddy was there helping me do some of the work today. And we were chuckling about some of the stuff and having a good time and made the best of it. And but anyway, my point of bringing that story up is that, I'm taking on projects now and tasks that, and I was down there at the rental till like 6:30 this evening. There ain't no way I would have done that in my drinking days, it would have been cutting into my drinking time. So what I'm trying to explain is that, I've adapted my life now to I don't have to worry about being home by 4 or 5 to start drinking. I don't have to worry, do I have alcohol in my house? I've changed my life now to where I'm doing things that keep me occupied and busy, and they're all productive things. All these things I'm doing are saving me money, they're making me money, and I'm doing good things for my family, because actually I'm going to end up moving in my niece, nephew, and mother-in-law into this rental now, and they're going to end up renting it, and so I'm making it super nice for them. And so anyway, and helping other people. I mean, all of a sudden I just find myself doing just so much more stuff for others, for productivity. I'm just more productive. And so the point of today's video is that You have to learn to change, adapt, and not be set in your ways. You got to be willing to bend and flow with life now that you're a non-drinker, especially if your life was like mine, where it was just this regimen of drinking first, everything else to the wayside, except, I'd never drank from the time I woke up till about 4 or 5. But, I don't know what your guys' drinking habits or patterns are, but once you pull it out, just take a look at what you can do in place of that drinking time, and be willing to, flow a little bit with this process. Sometimes, all of a sudden out of the blue, you're going to get a craving. You're going to have to adapt to that, or a trigger happens and you realize that's a trigger. You might have to adapt your lifestyle to avoid certain things for a while, or, you just got to be willing to move and bob and weave and that kind of thing with this quitting alcohol process. And, I don't think you can go into it with a complete expectation of it's going to exactly be this, because whatever I think you have expectations of what quitting alcohol is like in your mind, it's going to be probably very different. At least it was for me. I thought it was going to be a way different process and journey than what it's actually ended up being. It's better than I thought it would be. It's not just about willing myself every day to not drink alcohol like a lot of people try to do. I realized that was just going to lead to a life of misery, trying to will yourself not to drink every day and pine after alcohol every single day. I thought to myself, well, I'm not sure as hell not going to do that. So how do I fix that? Well, you start working on yourself. You start working on the things about yourself that you used alcohol to deal with, so that you don't want the alcohol anymore. You don't crave the alcohol, because you're learning to master all the things in your life that you used alcohol to cope with or deal with. You learn how to deal with stress. You learn how to deal with anxiety. You learn how to socialize without alcohol. You learn how to deal with grief without it. You learn how to deal with some of the pain and discomfort that comes along with life without it. And you start to feel yourself grow and become a better human being. And then your confidence starts to spike. You feel just really good about the path and direction you're on. And then when that's going on, all of a sudden you find yourself wanting the alcohol less and less and less. And then time passes on. And then before you know it, there's days that go by where you don't even give a thought about alcohol. And that's where I'm at now. Of course, there's still days where it pops in there, where, an old trigger happens, or, a craving for whatever reason comes out of the blue. But, being 107 days in, it's very easy to turn the dial off on those things. And I've learned, that's the other thing I've been working on and learned to change and adapt, is my mind. Because your mind, if you start sitting there thinking about alcohol, the next thing you know, you can turn the dial up on that thought of wanting to drink, and then you find yourself reaching for the drink because you let that thought spin out of control. And it's like I've said in so many of my other videos, getting your mind on your side in this process is one of the biggest and greatest things that you can do, is learn to control your mind. You see that alcohol thought pop in there that makes you want to drink, just turn that thought off and go think about something else. Get up and do something, get that thought out of your head. You can't control those thoughts popping in, but you can control, shifting your thoughts to something else, turning the dial down on those thoughts and turning them up on something else, And so guys, this process is all about changing, adapting, going with the flow, learning to bend a little bit, leaning into things, and just, like I say, bobbing and weaving is a good way to just kind of look at it, and, we can't be just have an expectation of what quitting alcohol is going to be like, and when it doesn't go the way that we think it should, or that it, whatever, you got to be willing to move in a direction that you need to get through whatever you didn't expect to happens, so anyway, guys, that's it for today. If you're getting anything out of these videos, give them a like, subscribe to the channel if you can, and most importantly, remember, sauce ain't the boss, you are. You guys have a great night.